to Dream Catch Hustle with
Nadirah
and Fila.
For today's topic, we're discussing failure to launch. So we've already told you guys to be structured, how to start your business and maneuver through your business. But now, for some people, you might be scared to launch.
Right.
Don't be scared. I'll be honest with you and tell you, the right time is never, like, there is no right time. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it.
Right, for sure. And we know that because we gave you guys some strategic steps, that sometimes can cause people to be a little hesitant and resistant and procrastinate. And so we want to take this opportunity to make sure that you don't fail to launch and that you take the information that we gave you and use that to propel you so that you do launch.
Right.
Yeah.
So, for instance, when I wanted to leave my job to start the real estate company, I can say I made the decision December 2015, and February 2016, I put in a 1,000,000-day notice. I put in a notice and told them in February that July 15th was my last day of work.
Wow.
Because
why'd you give them so much time?
If I didn't do it, I wasn't going to. Because there was never going to be a perfect time for a 2-week notice. So if I didn't do it, then I would have taken a longer time to do the brokerage class. So I would have taken a longer time to start the LLC. So once I gave them the notice, like, that was it. It's showtime.
It made it real. I think for me, I wanted to leave my job, but I didn't really think that it was possible. You know what I mean? Like, if you've never seen anybody do it, you're kind of scared. But on September 20th or 21st, one of those days of 2010, I wrote on a piece of paper that I would be leaving within a year. And I want to say that almost to the T, that next year I left, right? But you gotta be careful what you wish for also, because I wrote that down and I wasn't super clear, and then I started having some like back and forth stuff with my boss.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, what is this about, right? Like, there's an issue. But it was because I said it, I wrote it down, I put it out there, and then things started to happen.
You was already preparing to...
I was already preparing mentally, right?
Not like this place anymore.
No.
Not... Well, I didn't like my place, so that's why they got the 1,000,000-day notice.
Right.
I'll be honest, it's like, I think sometimes we're very hesitant, and if we don't just, like, do it, it won't get done. So...
Yeah. Because it's never a right time.
Exactly. I mean, is there a right time for anything?
Right. So one of the things that stopped me from doing it, like I said, was that I hadn't seen anybody. And that's really why we started this podcast and this show, right?
Right. And do not listen to your friends. And my friends really, they honestly love me, but they were nervous for me too. So when I told them, it was, you sure? You sure? And it's like, once you start getting that in your mind, now you're counting your money, like, am I sure? And it was, to me, it was just like, almost like, you know what, I'm just going to jump in and, like, it's going to have to work. Like, you know, either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. So.
But you took time, right? Like me, I said in September 2010 that I was going to do it, but I didn't really take any steps to prepare. So
I prepared.
Exactly. Because again, I think the issue for me was, like, I didn't really see that it could actually happen. So I wasn't planning for it because it wasn't real to me. And then I decided I was leaving and I left. And, like, that was it. So no health insurance, like, no income coming in. And it wasn't, I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing feeling. And then I was like, I'm gonna go to the doctor. How am I gonna pay my bills?
See, with that part, I was very strategic. So. My husband was in the union at the time, so I knew that we would be covered with medical, but at the same time, it was like one of those, like, it's only going to be one income for a while. But again, like, you heard me with the restaurant, like, I was going to do the restaurant on Friday and we'd be rich by Sunday. So I'm like, listen, as long as I sell one house a month, we're good.
I'm all right.
We're good. It took 6 months to sell my first house. But I mean, hey, now we're what, February 2021, and we're doing 5 closings a week. But it took time.
Say that again, girl. That's a big deal.
February 2021, we 5 closings a week.
All
but
right.
it took time to get there.
Of course.
And it doesn't matter how often we hear, like, listen, your business needs 2 to 5 years to, for it to grow. And then even you were told like 10 years, and I think 10 years is like that's the truth right there.
It is. It really is.
In our minds, when we're making a step, it's like we're going to be the one person that's going to strike it rich. And again, don't let that stop you from launching. Let it propel you.
Yes.
And you just got to go for it.
Yes, you do.
Lion.
But don't jump out the window like me. Be prepared like her.
Lion ducks up, but you know what? If you short a duck or there's a space missing, you just gonna have to fill a gap when you start it. Like you have to do it, because the more, I'm quite sure for some of you, we're already on like year 2 or 3 that you were supposed to start this business that didn't start yet.
And the age that we're living in right now and the climate that we're living in right now, if you were making excuses before, you definitely can't afford to make those excuses anymore, right? We're living in the age of probably the most and youngest millionaires that they're ever going to be.
Really are.
Because of online marketing and online businesses, and you can really do anything. And so many people are working from home right now.
Exactly.
So you got more time for your side hustle. Don't quit your job if you're not prepared, but start working on your dream now. And that's what we're talking about when we say, don't be afraid to launch, right? And don't fail.
What we're talking about when we say dream, catch, hustle.
Okay?
Dream it, catch it. That means go out and chase it, and you hustle to make sure that it works.
Right. And you have to continue to be a hustler in that space, right? The easiest part is getting it. The hardest part is maintaining it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and keeping it. And that motto, that dream, catch, hustle motto is really something that I think we both live by, even before we maybe were able to put it into words.
Exactly.
But you want to spend the time dreaming about what you want and what you're trying to do, and then the time catching it.
Go after it.
Go after it, and make sure that you are consistent, that you're intentional, and that you are intense in your pursuit of it.
And then you have to hustle. That means that you're on your grind.
Yes.
That means you're door to door. Whether you're not physically door to door, but you're mentally door to door. That means that you're making phone calls. You're writing stuff down. You're sending out emails. You're sending out letters. You're doing whatever it is that it takes in order for you to maintain your dream once you catch it.
Absolutely. You're texting family and friends and the contacts in your phone and letting them know what you have going on. You're posting about it on social media. If your personal page is ratchet and you don't want that to be associated with your business,
Start
right?
a
business page specifically for your business and grow it from the start. And you can keep dreaming and keep catching, but the hustle is non-negotiable.
Yeah, the hustle, that shit is real.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop. And you have to remember, no one's going to believe in you if you don't believe in you. So if this dream of yours is going on year 2 or 3, then you're starting to now lose your listeners, meaning your friends, your family members, and stuff like that, because they're at the edge of their seat. They waiting for you to jump. Now you may have some people that's waiting for you to fail, but that's why you hustling to make sure that you don't fail.
Right.
However, you're starting to lose your listeners if you don't launch.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things that for me really always kept me motivated was, right, like my dream, what I wanted to do, but the people who are waiting for you to fail. Because in the beginning, sometimes all you have is the drive or the desire to prove them wrong.
Yes.
And if that's all that you have to keep you going in the beginning, that's what you do, and then you transmute that into something else. But you have to get out there.
That's fuel for anyone. A lot of that is like at least 40-45% of the drive.
Maybe more in the beginning.
Proving people wrong.
Right. Until you get to a point where you like, I don't really care because I'm doing what I'm doing, but it takes a long time to get there.
Yeah, it does.
So Dara, what are some of the things when you look back on your businesses, because you've had multiple, that stop you from launching when you initially wanted to? You talked about being at the job.
Right.
But other than that, with the restaurant, with the real estate, what are some of the reasons that you failed to launch initially?
Maintaining the current lifestyle that I have. I've been working since I was 16 years old. And I was just scared that if, you know how that goes, if you don't work, you don't eat. But at the same time, I was in positions, great positions by the way, but I'm giving 150, 200% to people who didn't care.
Yes.
You know, and you guys know how that is. You're on your job and you're replaceable. And I said to myself, if I'm going to give 150, 200% and only get back maybe 50, 60% in appreciation, then I might as well work for myself.
Oh, absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know? So with that being said, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. And like I said, I did. You know, we come from a place where we don't plan babies; they just happen for the most part.
Pop up, right?
You know, so it's just like with anything. You know, it's never the right time. All of a sudden, you have a family.
Right.
It wasn't the right time. It was time for you to go away to college, but your parents or whomever didn't have the money, but you did it anyway. It's like there's never a right time for you to fulfill your dreams and do some of the things, some life-changing things. So I just say go for it. But what are some of the things that stopped you from moving forward?
So I think a lot of my stuff was more emotional. I always was kind of the one who was going to like make it, but in a very traditional way. Like you're the one who's gonna go to college and get the job and do the thing in that way. And I did that for a while, but then I was like, this is not the life that I want, right? I want to do something differently. So a big part of it was like disappointing family and friends, not doing it the way that my mom maybe wanted me to do it, or you know, the expectations that others had. And then I think because it was so different for me, and if we're being honest, it wasn't very different, right? We grew up in a time where hustlers hustled and you watched people run businesses. Even though they weren't legitimate at the time, they were still full-fledged businesses. And so I learned so much in that space, but I wasn't able to connect that with what I wanted to do. So there was a large fear of failing. Like, I don't want to fall on my face because I'm going against the grain and doing this thing. And I think there also was a fear of the responsibility it would take to be successful in doing something totally out of the norm of like the other women that I knew.
It's funny that you said that though. There's been times where I saw things progressing and I was scared of the success that came with it. One was probably losing myself. Like I never wanted to be that person. Like we watch them all the time. They're very successful. Now all of a sudden they're untouchable. You know, but these are the same people that were from the hood. They were, you know, so I never wanted to be that untouchable person. But at the same time, I'm the first one in my family to like start a business. So with that comes also a lot of responsibility. And
a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So I do believe I was scared. Sometimes I am still scared of success.
Right, because it forces you to show up as a different version of yourself. And it forces you to get over yourself and work harder. And so that for me was a big one also. But you have to hold yourself accountable to whatever that big picture vision is. Right? Like the lifestyle that you're creating, the things you want to have, and your big why, which we'll be talking about soon, right? So what would you say then to someone who's ready to launch, maybe mentally, but is still hesitant?
I'm the type of person, I'll just quit a job. So I'm going to tell you, go for it. If you really believe in yourself and you think that you have a brilliant idea, then go for it. I mean, you're the one that's going to be the one sitting down later, I wish I would have. Especially like for every great idea, there's at least 5 more people who have the same idea.
Absolutely.
So I'll be the one to say, quit your job, go for it.
do it, right? And I think what I would say is to commit to it now. Like even if you're going to leave the job, start doing something every day that's pushing you forward or that's putting you in position, whether that's just doing the research, incorporating the business, making the list, whatever it is, commit to it now. Because if you start the commitment now, when you do completely jump out the window and dive in, you won't have to learn how to commit at that time.
With that being said, just remember, we're rooting for you guys. We want you to win. So catch us next time on
Dream, Catch, Hustle with
Nadirah
and Fila. See you guys next time.
See you next time.